If Nigeria's democracy was a soundtrack, what would it sound like? And who will be making that? Who will be making that music?
It would sound like Nigeria Jaga Jaga.
It will sound like Nigeria.
I don't know if you know this foul song. This is Nigeria.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
Nigeria. That's what I.
Wow, so people don't think our democracy. You don't think our democracy is what a wonderful world.
A
No.
work in progress.
It's a work in progress. Sure.
I think the soundtrack would be Just Like That by Fela. Just Like That. I believe that song before.
No. What?
Wow.
What? Can you tell me?
He said you'll be strolling on your way back from work, on your way to work. Police just park and arrest you just like that. You reach home from work, you on TV, there's no light, just like that. You open tap to fetch water, no water, just like that. So, he said, in my country, things happen just like that.
This season of the Unamplified podcast is supported by the Open Society Foundations.
Dictators, authoritarian regimes, and those I call pretend democracies are most times very afraid of artists. Once upon a time, even till date, we have some music banned. We have poems, movies that are banned. Even before protest was banned or before protest started experiencing a lot of the sort of attacks we have ongoing. And we had artists, musicians, poets who are brutalized, some locked up, some exiled just because of the power of their art. And on this episode, we have one simple question. If those in power, the bad guys, if they're afraid of the artists, if they're afraid of art, then why don't we as a people, as citizens, as civil society, why don't we leverage art as a powerful tool for social transformation? Why treat it like a decoration on the wall? And on this episode, we'll be discussing the lines we need to cross. Civic Power and Creativity. Welcome to the Unamplified podcast. My name is Cynthia Mbamalu, your host. And with me today, I have...
Hello and welcome. I'm Andrea Tohe, your co-host. And of course, like my gilly on my head, this matter time gilly. So
yes.
we're here to discuss it properly. Welcome to Unmute Africa, loud and unfiltered. Yes, it's...
How do you feel to be back?
I'm excited.
Yes. And we have three amazing guests who will be discussing this important topic with us. And all the way joining us virtually from Northwest Nigeria, we have Aisha. Aisha, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Aisha. Nice to see you. I really wish you were
So much for having me. Thank you.
Yes, thank God for technology. So at least we can have you join us. Aisha Sani Lawan, widely known as Aisha in Dabawa. Am I pronouncing it well?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. She's a spoken word performance poet, a girl child advocate, social conscious artist, and the founder of Shining Voice Global Link. Welcome to the Unamplified podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And we have with us Seun Adebayo, who is an artist, an art explorer who leverages his art for democracy and social justice. I think I'll call you the speed painter, right? Welcome to the Unamplified podcast, Seun. And we also have Teniola Balogun, a young creative and civic actor who was also part of the team leading the thumbprints for democracy, supported by the Open Society Foundation. Welcome to the Unamplified podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, it's good to have you all. Interestingly, this season is actually supported by the Open Society Foundations. And like I mentioned, we'll be talking about the lines we need to cross. Creativity and civic power. Shehu, your t-shirt already is making a statement. Because when you walked in, I said, okay, he came with the ancestors and ready to make a huge demand. Why do you have this t-shirt on? Why is it important for you?
Actually, since the day of the adoption of the school children, since I think day 10, that we've not gotten an answer.
Yeah.
So I've put upon myself to do a personal self-protest. Wherever I'm going, from day 10 to today makes it 42.
Wow.
So I've been wearing different shirts, crested on the like bring them on. This is day 42. Tomorrow day 43.
Oh.
The day they will
Our
back home.
children are home. Wow, that's a powerful message, and this is one of your
Yes.
art
Yeah.
art piece, and I think this is what we're talking about, how we leverage art to make the right kind of demands in the society. And it's interesting that when you talked about you've been wearing this every single day. When the abductions happened, there's a lot of news around it. But as time passes, it seems like the news is going down. We forget that there are families still grieving, still hoping and praying, and going through the most difficult times in their lives, not knowing where their loved ones are. And it's actually important. We are constantly putting that call out to the government. Every child deserves to be safe. Every child deserves to go to school without the fear of being abducted. And we need our security agencies to secure the lives of Nigerians and better. And I'll move straight to Aisha. You're a spoken word artist, and I enjoy I love listening to you. Your passion and the way you communicate your message. It's just brilliant. And the question for me is, when did you realize that what you were doing was not just art, that you were challenging political structures with your message, you were challenging civic and social situations or realities, and most importantly, you were targeting that need to drive consciousness amongst the people? When did it stop being just art to you?
Well, I think it started when I began to realize that my art isn't just an entertainment, something that, okay, when I create my piece, I'll feel happy, entertained, and then people will comment, "Oh, I love your art," and I'll feel like, "Oh, art is so hard," and it's something great. It was when I became a girl child advocate, because I always tell people that I see myself as an example of someone who was given her right to go to school, and I was privileged, let me say it that way, to explore my dreams, and whatever I want to do, my family supported me 100%. So I feel like every girl child out there needs to have that opportunity and that right as human, as a citizen of a nation that has this girl child education as a fundamental human right. And then when I begin to write poetry on girl child education, I see a lot of people commenting about it, people talking about that, "Oh, this is a very pressing issue that we need to talk about, and this is so good. Thank you so much for lending your voice to do this and that." Then I said to myself, okay, if a lot of people want to do it, why didn't they do it in the first place?
Yeah.
Are they waiting for someone to do it before they start doing it themselves, or they're afraid of doing it? So I am so glad that at some point, actually, I used to feel afraid, because, in Nigeria, sometimes you just have to be afraid at some point. But then I said to myself, this is what I want to do, so I just have to do it. It is a responsibility for me to do it, and I'm doing it, and I feel so fulfilled doing it. So yeah.
Wow.
That's lovely. Sheung, I'll push similar question to you. I've seen your work on IG, Diligent Artist. We've followed you, and I've seen you did, like I mentioned earlier before we started, the Colors of Africa, the families of the victims, and all. Did you choose to go through this process of making art following the themes of social justice, or did they just find you?
Okay. Right from my NC program, I did NC before the university. So I was in the campus echo, like the campus press. So those who draw cartoon and this and that, and, adding to the news around the campus. And then the most interesting news that we carried back then was, you used to be news against the cultism and the rest, and you know how dangerous that could be.
Yeah.
So after the first persecution I faced from those guys, and I came back alive, Then I got some, some ginger from a senior colleague that this is what it's all about. And we were like mentored then by some lecturers. So it actually put my feet on that path that yes, we can actually survive this and, stand for what is right and always do what is right. So as African artists in a country like, in a continent like Africa, whereby, we developing and we are faced with a lot of challenges, as an artist, I don't think we should channel our energy towards entertainment. Everything we need to do have to have a positive impact in society. Have to fight for human rights and the rest. So if everyone who has been all our entertainers and the rest, if they've been channeling their attention on things like this, I'm telling you that we would have been gone farther than what it is to be now. Because now, let's take a look at the problems. Like what that appears to be the problem most is the fear of persecution. Like fear, like what will happen, this and that, and everybody wants to make a good living and get money and the rest and get money from what they bought. Because if you take a look at it, how much can you actually earn from being an activist or being an advocacy? So those are the fear that is actually attributed to things like this. So, but along the way, I find a way of balancing the thing, do the commercial aspect and the advocacy. So I can say it's something like I grew up to develop. So something like that.
When you said something about the fear, I wanted to say when you were in university and you were doing all these cartoons against cultism, and some of them, I don't know if they approached you.
Yes, there was
not scared. Just say, I'm in school.
My first encounter, with these court guys, sometimes they can give us a task. Like some guys are just together and that these guys are fishy. Go and take a picture of them and let's examine who they are so we can carry out some investigation. So I was at the window and I took a snapshot so they saw the flashlight. So they ran into the house. Who was that? Who's that? Who? So we're trying to, I'm not the one, nothing. Is this someone said this guy, this particular guy is one that took the picture. So when I was trying to deny the guy, I was just slapping me right and left. You are the one, delete the picture, this and that. And people gathered and they begged that he's a good guy, he's a gentle guy, this and that. Please just forgive him. We won't do that again. So those are the kind of persecution I faced back then in university. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just listening. Yeah, that's quite brave. And I think when you talked about a lot of times when artists or entertainers, creatives, when they want to focus on just the commercial, not necessarily that they don't care about the social issues. It could be because some of them are afraid. But then you made an important point that at the end of it all, if the system is not working, that fear you had can still come to you, because if there's a large number of people that are hungry, if you have a lot of people who are disenchanted and hungry, they are not empowered or gainfully employed, they become the threat to the wealth you have built. And I think maybe sometimes that's also the fine line we try to balance. I know in the first episode, we're talking about the fear about people want to just focus on themselves. If I'm okay, my family is okay, then I'm fine. I don't care about the society. But this time around, the reason we're saying Unmute Africa is, if we want Africa to work, then every one of us needs to speak up. We need to engage. We need to make the right demands. And we need to start asking those questions that our leaders don't want us to ask. So I'm coming to you, Teniola. I think I crossed paths with you and Aisha during the Art for Democracy, an initiative of Young Africa supported by Open Society Foundation. And you were part of the team that had a project, Thumbprints for Democracy. Yeah. That was how, and I found your initiative quite interesting. You engaged the elections in the Federal Capital Territory, the local government elections. What inspired that project? Why do you think it matters?
First, thank you, Young Africa and Open Society Foundation, because that project is dear to my heart, to be honest. So when the team and I sat together, we're asking ourselves, what is the most pressing issue right now? And at that point, it was before the local government elections in Abuja. So and that conversation always comes up, whenever something happens, we call the president's name or we call the governor's name. So it's always like, Tinubu did this, Buhari did this,
Yes.
Jonathan did that. But there are some issues in the society that does not get to the top. And it's your local government chairman, your councillors who are, directly responsible for those issues. It's not Tinubu or Buhari or Jonathan that would come and clear your gutters or fix your waters or make sure that there's accessible market and stuff. So many people do not understand this. And if you look at the population of learned Nigerians, to those that are unlearned, so you would understand why there's a gap in information. Not everybody can read, long policy documents, understand how legislation work or how government works. So we wanted to do something that would inform the communities that these local government elections matters a lot to you, because these are people who are directly responsible for the issues within those communities. And that was when we came up with thumbprints of democracy. Thumbprints is very symbolic in democracy.
Yeah.
So basically what we did was we had the map of Nigeria carved, and then we had fabrics from each geopolitical zones, like Atampa in the northwest, Ashoke in the southwest, think just a couple of those, and we had them across the geopolitical zones. And what we did was we wanted it to be interactive with the community members. So we told them that they were going to be the ones to finish the artwork. So we had them thumbprint, we had acrylic paint. So they thumbprinted all over the artwork as a commitment that they would vote during the local government elections. Yeah.
Wow. Did you think were you positively received in the community? And when you were engaged, because you talked about how people don't know that there are different levels of government and different arms of government. Their responsibilities. Your local government is the closest to you.
Yeah.
They have their roles, your state government, and then the federal. Then you have the legislative arm.
Yeah.
So when you were engaging, what did you find interesting? Do people be like, when people like, oh my gosh, local government election is coming. I did not know there was even local government. They have those who did not even know they had local government elections coming, and then those who had no idea.
Yeah. So before the main event, we did we had like a community drive where we went to the community, begged some. Obviously, not many of them wanted to be on camera.
Yeah.
Not many of them wanted to answer us because people are hungry and they just wanted to sell their.
People are hungry, my sister.
People are hungry. So we got a couple of persons to to ask questions, and one of the questions we asked them was, did you vote in the last local government elections? And we got a couple of, what is that?
What is that?
And we also asked that we asked people, do you know the role of your area council?
Yeah.
And then, do you know where the area council office is?
No.
So not many of them are even aware of these things. I think that even informed what we were going to do on the day of the event, because we realized we're not just even there to beg them, please vote. Yeah, it was to tell them this is why it is important for you to vote, because these people are responsible for all your problems. While we were there, a lot of them were even complaining that I don't know, maybe they thought we were from the government, but they were telling us their problems. Right? That see, they've not had light since which day, that they've not had water for about 3-4 months and stuff. And we're like, okay, yeah, we're glad you're saying this to us, and this is the reason we've been asking what you know about the area council elections. And we even went as far as asking them, do you know the dates
of the elections?
And you'd be surprised at the number of people who do not even know the dates. Some of them don't have their PVCs. So we had a lot of teaching to do.
Honestly, I can just imagine how much teaching you had to do. Now, Aisha, speaking about giving awareness and all of that, your spoken word pieces does a lot of provocation. You challenge the status quo, you amplify issues on girl-child rights. Do you ever think that any of your works, or have you ever had an idea that you think, oh my god, this would be very provoking, this would cause violence? Not violence per se anyway, but it would raise a lot of conversations. Have you ever had any of those ideas, and did you still put it out regardless?
Yes, I think it was my second to the last post that I did on our leaders. It was about this whole thing that is happening in Nigeria. And I did it in Hausa because I wanted a lot of people in the north, the leaders and, people that are not in politics, the community, to really get my message. I could remember that I wrote the piece and it took me 3 weeks
Wow.
to come to the conclusion that I want to shoot that video and I want to post it because I was confused. I was scared. But I also feel like, okay, if people that are really wealthy enough or people like the retired general can be abducted and be killed, so who am I? I should just go ahead and do my stuff regardless. You just need to speak up. So I did that post and a lot happened. A lot of people keep calling me and I don't know, I cried, which wasn't part of the production, but it just came. And then my videographer said, okay, we can use this and just add it as an insert in the video. So I so much love the video myself because I'm so proud of myself, what I did. It was something that it took me a lot of time to decide. It was the bravest part of me that said yes to put out that work out there. And it was me asking the politicians of the day they sweared that they're going to take care of Nigeria, they're going to take all the responsibility and they're going to do right, they're going to do so many things. So it was very emotional to me and to everyone that have watched it, even if you're not really familiar with Hausa, but then you get to understand some part of it. And I'm just glad that I did it regardless of whatever I felt before.
Yeah, I watched it too. It was very, very
You understand Hausa?
I don't understand Hausa, but I got it was pretty
Yeah,
clear.
because I was, I don't know if you want to do it maybe before we end the episode, give us a bit of a snippet, a bit of it. I know you have your process, but there's something I was saying that even without, I don't understand Hausa, but I listened to some of your, because even the one you did on fact checking before you share, verified, or did around here calling for conscious sharing of information integrity. You had Hausa in between. I don't understand
more English and English. Yeah.
Yes. I don't understand Hausa, but somehow when I listen to you, I feel like I'm getting your message. I feel what you're saying. And I just found that quite powerful that you can communicate with so much emotion and clarity and sincerity that even if it's in a language that some of us do not understand, we still feel the emotions behind the message. I think that is quite powerful. Sheun, I've seen you do your thing in different places. And I know one of the art piece you had done, was it in Cape Town or so? Something about our pain, our gain, or something. Our common pain, our gain, or the message. Sometimes I see your work they have very provocative message. And I was just wondering if there are times you felt this may be crossing the line. This message is too much. Especially because, we talk about people like Fela, for instance. We know that Fela was locked up, jailed, beaten, but he kept singing. And there was something he always said. This is one of my favorite tracks from him. He said, human rights are my property. Human rights, now my property. You can't dash me my human rights, And that, growing up as a child, listening to Fela, I'm a huge fan of Fela. I always had that in my head, even before I knew what human rights, to be like, you can't dash me my human rights. But that's the power of a message. And he was singing that during military dictatorship, where the military dictators did not believe Nigerians had the right because they were the alpha, the omega, the everything. But he put that out, but he puts his life at the risk. Do you also feel that this thing I'm doing is putting my life at risk and maybe I should pull back? Have you crossed the line before?
Okay, speaking of that, first and foremost, I think 2024 at the World Movement for Democracy in Johannesburg. I think you're supposed to be on the team before.
Yeah,
okay.
I couldn't.
So there is a sub team in a conference. There will be a sub team for creatives whereby or activists that are doing something that whereby we'll just have like a round table talk. You won't believe that in my own team, I was the only person who have not gone to prison.
Wow.
Like this person will talk will be like, when I was in prison, there was a lady from China. She said, "These are 14th time in 14th time. How old are you, right?" Yeah, you are going to prison every year. Like, so now parental factor now in Nigeria, or let me say societal factor in Nigeria. If you've been to prison, no matter anything that took you to that prison is like an emblem on your name. This person have gone to prison. He's a prisoner. He came back from prison. So everybody is trying to play safe. And parents will be telling you that future of tomorrow, this and that. Just read your book and get a good job and just do your thing. Like another example, during the NSAS, I was still in Zaria then. Then there's an open call, like a call for creatives to come and paint at the Lekki Toll Gate before the escalation of everybody. So there was a time some of our guys are painting at the toll gate, like group painting, Yes, exactly. So we went there, like my mother called, hello, I said you're in Lagos, if come up, that kind of a thing. So there's this fear that parents has actually put in us and allows us to let everybody play safe and don't challenge the authority, just do your thing, go to church, do everything, do whatever you can do and make it in life and pray that God should under every bad circumstances, your own will be different. Something like that. What about people? What about your neighbor? What about your neighbor? What about people that did you get, like, for example, again, like pastor saying that something like 10,000 may die from your right hand side, 1,000 from your left hand, it will never come your tent. The 10,000 that die my right hand side, are they my enemy? Are they not my brothers? Like, do they deserve to die?
Yeah, exactly.
So if me now, it doesn't come near my tent now. So does that mean I think the prayer should be, it should not come to your tent yet, because it might be the victim tomorrow. Because now, if I'm lucky enough not to be kidnapped today, I go to church and do testimony. People were kidnapped in my estate, but only my house was. I don't know. And these are the things we celebrate. So things like this, if we can eradicate it in people's brain, the injury for one is injury for all. I think this fight would be very, very effective, and in no time we'll be able to say through it. Just imagine, for example, now, let's say as I put this upon myself, like, okay, I'll be wearing this till the day these children will be back home. So, like, somebody want to do like a wedding. So instead of doing a shabby, he shares something like this for everybody. Like, this is what we wear. We don't have to like carry placard and be proving process. Just put it in their faces. Like, everywhere they go, they are seeing it. They turn right, they saw it. Nobody will tell you. Like, it's just like human nature. You respond to what you see often and often, constantly. Yes. And what you said the other time, something similar that people do say always, that like people have their role to play. Yeah, people have their role to play, but people need to be enforced to do the right thing. So it's not that maybe you now start people are dirty. No, the country that people are very neat, they are law abiding. It's not because that they want to do it. It is because the law provide a workable system and a punishable, and they persecute who cross the line. So that is why people abide. And when you are aware that if I do this thing, I will get this punishment, definitely I will not do it. Those who do it, I can see that nobody want to go to jail, nobody want to be punished. So as time goes on, you will see that things will just be working like normally. Things will just by default. During COVID-19 lockdown, nobody teach anybody whether you are educated or not. You have to be in your house. Nobody is roaming about the street because you don't want to die. Because there's a consequence for it. Yeah. So if the government not provide consequences, like working system of government, people will do anyhow. People will do whatever they like. But if you throw a plastic rubber, and you know that you'll be jailed for that, nobody will do. In fact, as what you no more. Let me. You will remember that there's a point for this thing. So it is government's responsibility to provide a working system and law and order. They have to put the punishment that if you do this will happen. No matter your status, no matter how influential you are, no matter. So that is how to make a working system. So talking about going back to the crossing the line now. Yeah, I've actually faced a lot of no, I'm not going to be. I've not been able to.
You say you felt alone.
Yeah.
Everyone, all the artists
Is
there.
it on your bucket list though?
Even my friend, this guy from Gambia, Ali Cham,
Yes.
he was unable to join us at this conference in Sierra Leone because he was in prison. He even have a slot. We were supposed to perform a piece together. So, but one way or the other, he went to go and join the protest in Senegal, and he was arrested in Senegal.
Oh,
He's not even in Gambia, in Senegal. He went to go and support, and he was arrested in Senegal. Wow. So he was unable to join us in Sierra Leone. So things like that. And in Nigeria, if people are not doing it and seeing it as the right thing to do, it is difficult for you to just chest it. They will say, who send you? And when if you're hearing who send you, you might like, let nobody send me true, something like that. So those are the issues.
so but should we start saying, when they ask us who send you, say you should be part of this?
Exactly.
Who send you?
Exactly.
Interestingly, the first episode we're discussing rethinking youth power, and we had a guest from Kenya who was sharing the experience, and we were just reflecting the Nigerians on the episode where we're just saying, wow, Kenyan youth are so awake, they are so vibrant, and they are not willing to take anything less from their government.
Yeah, and they stand together in
they
solidarity.
stand together in solidarity, and they've learned how to move and organize themselves to make demands. I mean, follow the news, see the way they do that. And so what do we even learn from our own country as Nigerians? How do we build power as a people? How do we leverage art? How do we engage differently? And so when we were just talking about how you were in a room, and we have been in certain meetings too, people actually take this fight seriously. And if you follow Fela's life, Fela likes to enjoy life, right? He's a human being like everyone. He likes to flex, likes to enjoy life, but he also understood that this system is not working. And so he constantly used his art to make that demand. And not just, I'm just using him as an example. I think everyone, both within and outside Nigeria, would have an idea of Fela. But maybe now, if I look at the work he did, Thumbprints of Democracy, and I'm just wondering, your experience, what do you think was a major lesson on how we can leverage art to promote civic engagement, especially for Gen Zs? What was your major lesson from that? Is that something you think is a good way to proceed?
It is, and I don't think it's just for Gen Zs.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened that day. We planned the event for only 2 hours. I think we ended up staying past 3 hours.
Wow.
And you were here at the concrete. And we had lots of children because it was a local community. So so there were lots of children, people just passing by saying, they were just excited. They just wanted to have faith on their hand.
The thumbprints,
And then I even realized that, maybe we should have had children in that discussion. Maybe they should start learning these things.
Yes, from a very young age.
We need to start instilling this
that's the truth.
awareness from a very young age, because at this point, if you look at the older generation, when we're asking questions, then we ask them across different generations, older people, a lot of them were their responses were, I don't exactly care what is going on, because nothing is going to change, right? For the younger generations, they're like, we'll still come out, can't do something.
Nothing will change.
It's like the other ones are
Giving up.
The younger ones are still trying, but then they're saying the system is not working. And then we have the younger ones who, would I say they are not aware of anything that is going on. They were just excited to be there, stomping. So I was even talking to some of my teammates that, maybe we should have expanded our scope to say these children should have even been safe when we get making that awareness, because these are things we need to start teaching
from an early stage.
From an early stage. So they should know the struggle. Life is not rainbows and cookies. Things are happening. Petrol is very expensive.
Even cookies now is not even easy to afford. Yes.
Cookies 5 biscuits is 500.
There's not, is there 15 naira sweet again? I don't think.
No, I think now to get candy, everything is expensive, right? The things you think about where we were 10 years ago and what you could afford with, let's say, for instance, 10,000 naira. If you compare that now with what you can afford now, totally different.
Yeah.
But there's a point you made around, we need to start getting younger. You need to start getting them very early, catching them young, children. That is where to start that civic education, civic consciousness. And art is so powerful. Something she once said, if it's out there in the faces, when you see something consistently, you remember. Same also as the government, where if all of us constantly make the demands that when we have children, families, loved ones abducted, we don't let it just be one of those headlines that after a week or two, after a week, sometimes after some days, is no longer in the news. That anywhere we show up, the things we wear, the post, there's always a message that says we need to bring our children home, we need to bring our citizens home, we need security. Because if we are constantly putting it out there, it's difficult for government to ignore. The same approach, if we make civic education a part of life, that even in our music, you know, something about the musicians, you can integrate it into, you can create beautiful music that is social conscious, and people will sing and vibe to it, and the message is still passed. And so maybe I have a question for everyone. I'll begin with Aisha, then I'll come to my co-host and the team. What do you think about art that challenges power and art that antagonizes without purpose? Do you think there's a difference, or that there's a line we need to draw with art that challenges power, challenges government, and art that antagonizes without necessarily having a purpose? What do you think, Aisha?
Well, I think at this point, I'll talk about the current situation we're in Nigeria. At this point, I think what we need is arts that challenges the power. To be honest, because I feel like as artists, if we do not challenge the people in the government, I do not know what we're doing with our arts. Because if we don't speak up, no one is going to do it for us. It is our responsibility collectively as citizens of this nation, as people have been affected in one way or the other. If we feel like, okay, this whole kidnapping thing is not in my family, is not around my area, one day it will be, if we're not really careful with standing on our grounds to make sure that, okay, we're really fighting for this. And as Sherwin said, consistency is really key. Because if we do not keep saying this out, if we do not keep calling the people in power, if we do not keep calling their attention and keep telling them that, okay, this is what we want, this is how we want Nigeria to be, and this is the Nigeria we're hoping our children, our younger ones to grow up and see, then nothing is ever going to happen. I could remember that people keep saying that they're not on social media, whatever you're going to say, they're not seeing it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're not on social media. The people that are with them, their children, their families, their friends, their relatives, they're on social media. And the more we keep talking about this, the more we keep challenging them, the more people that are around them will keep telling them that this is what Nigerians want, and this is the solution that we feel you should do, because it will get to a point where if we talk and talk and talk and we get to the peak of our talking stage, and then I'm afraid that the action is not going to be something that everyone is going to.
When you say the peak of the talking stage, I just thought about relationship. It's just like, if you're in talking stage forever, it can never become a relationship. Which is why without action, there's no relationship. You're just in talking stage. And maybe we need to start looking at it this way. If all we're doing is just talking, we're just talking, we're not engaging, we're not showing up when it's time for elections to vote. When they call for protest, we're not listening. When they say everyone post something on this, we're not taking those action.
Influencers feel like, they don't want to repost. They feel like, okay, gossip is something that brings more traffic to their page. It brings more money. It's not about money at this stage that we are in Nigeria. It's not about making money with your page. It's about making an impact. It's about doing the right thing. You end up getting the money and it's not going to be useful to you. So I feel like we just need to wake up more and talk about this more, challenge them. It's what we have to do now. it's not about just I want to be in politics. If I talk about this, maybe I wouldn't get the opportunity to get something from the government. It's almost election time, and there's so many things that money is going to be flowing, so many opportunities. It's not about them. It's about you as individual. If you're safe, are you sure your parents are going to be safe? Your siblings, the people around you, your friends. So I feel like challenging is the most important thing for us to do at this point.
Thanks. Andrea, what do you think? And then
So I agree that we need more art pieces that challenges power. And is there a line between one that challenges and one that antagonizes? I think the only line is probably when it becomes violent or too insultive in a way that would provoke one to threaten someone's life. I think that is the only line. But other than that, we have rights as citizens to challenge our government. We have the right to say this thing is not going well. And we use our art forms to do that. We use our music to do that. We use our poems to do that. We use our art pieces to do that. And I just want to add about catching them young with children. I remember when I was younger, this Nigeria Jaga Jaga song, like it was everywhere. So even down to even nursery rhymes, we are supposed to have rhymes that should teach our children, about their voting rights, about their civic power. And I think that needs to really, really be implemented a lot more in schools, in our educational systems. Because if we start from the schools, when you go for your outreaches and all of that, and you see some of these children, they'll be able to relate better with, their civic power. They'll be able to recognize that, okay, this is a ballot box. Because some kids in primary school, they don't even know what ballot boxes are. They don't know, what voting system. They don't know how the president came to power.
Oh.
So if we use these art forms to educate them more, use these art forms to, like he says, do it more consciously and do it more consistently, I think we'll be better for it as citizens, honestly.
Yeah, Tenny.
Yeah, and I wanted to add to what she was saying. The truth is, we've tried silence, we've tried passiveness. It did not work. Yeah. So let's move on to things that would work. Because honestly, as Nigerians, and the reason I even mentioned about teaching children about civic consciousness early is because we're in a society with parochial ideology.
Yeah.
And she was talking about it, that everybody is even in our prayer points. Yes. Maybe you're supposed to go out and you did not go out the time you're supposed to, and then you heard it was an accident. You say, thank God, oh,
yes.
I not go out. It was say I go out now, something for don't do and things like that. So we need to start thinking about the next person. We Nigerians we only think about, many of us only think about, ourselves, immediate family, and maybe our tribe. So we really need to move away from parochial ideologies and start being Nigerians. To start, exactly, because we need to understand that even with your money, Nigeria can happen to you. Nigeria can happen. It will. Because today, if you look at Lagos now, landlords are hiking the prices of rents. There's no control around it, and I think I've seen a couple of celebrities
even in Abuja. Landlords are going.
I mean, what do you mean 50 million for rent? How much money are you making? No matter how much money that you want to be paying 50 million naira every year in Nigeria's economy.
Yeah.
What are you selling?
Country, we are very classist and we know how to put prices in very high amounts, which is it's crazy.
We really need to start catching them young. Let's start instilling proper civic values in children. You need to understand that your neighbor's problem is your problem. You need to start exercising your civic rights as a citizen of Nigeria, because things would not change if we do not call for change. And another thing I wanted to add is that narrative is very important, and that is what art does. You can ignore the statistics, you can ignore the policy documents, but as she said, that song Nigeria Jaga Jaga was actually a song I heard when I was very young. You cannot ignore that song if it keeps playing in the radio and everything. When I came in, I saw Sheun's shirt too. Actually, I saw his shirt before I was trying to remember. I was trying to place the face, but I was looking at the shirt first. So you cannot. I mean, if you have this maybe somewhere in front of the National Assembly, you drive out, you would see it there. You cannot ignore it. So I think we need to start building, like better narratives, and we can do that with art. If you remember during the NSAS protest, I think there was this photo of Aisha Yesufu where she was having with her hand up, and that photo went viral. It was everywhere. That was even one of the things, and it was that photo that actually got me really interested.
Oh wow!
In that protest, yes. And I think I saw that photo like within 2020 and 2021. That photo was always on my timeline, right? So art is something you cannot ignore. So let's start putting it in their faces.
Yeah, Shem, do you want to add a bit?
Let's start from the definition of art. What is art? Art can be defined as a means of self-expression. So the problem we have with people not engaging in, everybody's an artist.
Yeah.
See, because another definition of art is art can be defined as a general name given to all skillful activity. See the way you are talking, the way you are anchoring this session, it is artistic. That makes you an artist. The way the DOP is, swinging the tripod like artistically makes him an artist. The person who designed this cup is an artist. The person who styled your head is an artist. So everybody's an artist. So by the time we realize that everybody's an artist and this is what we should do, problem some people have is how do I come in? How do I come in? You understand? Some people don't even know that. Like ever since I started wearing these clothes, I have about 14 people who have joined me wearing these clothes. 14. Yeah, some people like until someone start doing something. People like, oh, I think I can do this, or I think I can play my part by doing it, but they don't just know how. So we can actually do something, and let's find a way of coining what we do. How to speak up with whatever we do. So you see that more people will start engaging. Even this NSAS, when it started, not until you see that people are crowding up. Oh, I can join now because people are doing it. So as many people are not doing it, people are not coming out, it won't interest anybody. But if we see the crowd doing something right, everybody will follow. And we need to join. We need to come together and and speak against the kind of, or regulate the kind of music we listen to, the kind of message we get on a daily basis. Because you said the other time about we want to intimidate the next person. You get all these things came from when you listen to a song, or everything Nigeria celebrities are singing about is I have money, I spray money, I bath in champagne. Everybody, it sticks in people's head. Then somebody will not be looking for money to go and spray champagne and to intimidate the next person. So this person will be waiting for his turn tomorrow. This person might be broke tomorrow. Maybe he's someone who just got money today, and the next thing is just to intimidate somebody. This person wants to revenge tomorrow. So we can't continue with this kind of mentality, thinking that we just want to intimidate each other. So if we can replace all this mentality with something progressive, I'm telling you, this country would have, been better a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this point you made about what we listen to, because this whole sense of it's about me, myself, and I. Sometimes it's amplified in even the content we consume. People just want to hammer, blow to take care of themselves because they believe that once I hammer, once I blow, I'm okay. I don't care about the next person. And that is actually not African, I always think about the African philosophy of Ubuntu. I am because you are. If you think about a lot of our African philosophies were very communal in nature. It was very solidarity in nature, because the whole African experience is in those days. I mean, when you hear some of the stories, we're community people. If you're eating, you invite your neighbors. In those days, my mom used to say when they were younger, when her mom cooks, then she puts it on a big tray and then she invites all the children. So they all eat. So they were calling themselves brother and sister, even though they are not the same. There was no blood connection. And she was saying that she misses those days. That those days you can, when you go out, if you're hungry, you can stop at someone's house. If they're eating, you knock, you wash your hands, you join them and you eat. And so if we think about this, I'm also thinking maybe as as Africans, we need to start looking at those important values that made our societies a lot more, how do I put it, habitable for us. What are those beautiful values and philosophies that made us Africans that we need to bring back? And you had the money question. I think Sharon had highlighted something about money earlier. Yes.
I wanted to ask about Chun and to Aisha, or anyone can answer. Money is important, and money changes, your ideology. Because like you mentioned earlier, people just want to make their art to get money, get paid, and then you found a way to maintain the commercial side and still be able to use your art to advocate. Do you think other young people are actually ready to cross the necessary lines to inspire conscious civic action with their work and not necessarily focus on the money part? Because I've been a part of an advocacy program where young people were brought together. We use stage play, we use music, we use artwork to, put out advocacy pieces. But then at the end of the program, a lot of young people just went their different ways, and most of them no longer participate in doing, that type of artwork anymore. They are more focused on making money and the hustle per se. So do you think other young people are actually ready for that?
So the thing is, like I said earlier, that the role of making things relevant or not relevant, it depends on who and who we make popular. Honestly, because take a look at it. For example, if the kind of songs we are vibing to is like Fela and this, see, the way we think, the way people think around us, the way we think will be totally different. Yeah. So imagine in a situation whereby everybody is just so ambitious and everybody just want to make money. So even if you put a program of civic engagement and this and that and let us engage on, nobody supports it. Nobody want to buy your artwork speaking against the government or this and nobody want to buy it. Nobody is promoting you. It's just you doing it like, okay, I'm doing it because I have the passion to do it. You get my point? So now, think about how do we get the younger people? We need to do a serious work by letting them see that this is what is right. They should focus on instead of wasting time, just focusing on entertainment, on how to get money and money and money alone. So with that, people can see light in the right thing. We can still make the right thing popular. Yeah. This is what we should do. This is the right thing. We should visit our educational system. We should review all this. If you take a good look at the educational syllabus now, even from the younger age, there's nothing like that is making them be like themselves rather than every other person. They just want to be like this person. I'm looking at a role model that I want to be like, not more like I'm bringing this thing from there's no originality from within. Get my point?
Yeah. I don't know, Tenye, then Aisha.
Okay, so I just wanted to add that, just as you were saying, that we need to start giving the right people platform. And in light that, yes, you can also still commercialize good art. Yeah, so instead of, okay, I want to be a musician, and instead of doing the normal, if I get money, this, if she or something, you can still infuse civic consciousness in what you're doing and still sell your music, right? I think that works too, and that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, Aisha.
I think just to add a little to what they said, a lot of people now feel like, okay, to call yourself as an advocate is something fancy or beautiful, and people feel like, okay, it's more like an amazing title to say that, oh, what are you? I am an advocate. And people tend to use that on their social media because they want to have so many followers and people that are liking their videos. They want to trend. And we are so much in love with trending on social media than doing the things that, okay, are going to be more impactful to us than just trend on social media, because we need to understand that trending on social media has a limit. You can just trend for a month and that's it, and no one is ever going to hear about you. But then if you're really doing your ads for art's sake, and you're doing it to be sure that, okay, I'm doing something that even when I'm gone, I'm going to leave a legacy, just like Pella, that people are going to look back to and say that, okay, this person really made an impact and his art is not a waste. So I think people really need to be aware of all these things, and they should understand that being on social media is not just about the fame and every other thing. It's also about being responsible on whatever it is that you share and do. And yeah.
Thank you so much for that, because I think most times, just listen to three of you talk, a lot of times we also forget that some people believe that, oh, if this is the path to fame, then they just engage on it without thinking about the depth and the purpose and the impact they want to make. And so it's also about balancing that, understanding that whatever you're doing, we need to start thinking about impacts within the society. We need to start thinking about systems that can outlive us, because we're not just here for today. We're not acting for just ourselves for today. It's about those who will come after us. And then you say something about how do we can also commercialize our civic content. And that's the truth. Some of the songs by Michael Jackson, for instance, I mean, if you think about The Man in the Mirror, I used to sing that song then like it was a gospel song, because for me that was like a call to action. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at it, and then make the change, because the change begins with you. When they say all I want to think, all I want to say that don't care about us, If you think about a lot of the songs, a lot of the songs were actually civic conscious, social conscious, calling out oppressive system. So just that alone shows that it's possible to make your art sexy. That's what I was using, because a lot of young people want to vibe. And so you can put in the right vibe, but the message is still clear. I would end with a question for every one of us. I don't know who wants to go first. Whoever wants to go first will go first. If Nigeria's democracy was a soundtrack, what would it sound like? And who will be making that? Who will be making that music?
It would sound like Nigeria Jaga Jaga.
It would sound like Nigeria Jaga Jaga.
I don't know if we know this foul song. This is Nigeria.
Oh, I know that.
Nigeria. That's what I was like.
Wow, so people don't think our democracy. You don't think our democracy is, oh, what a wonderful world.
No, it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
I think the soundtrack would be Just Like That by Fela. Just Like That. I believe that song before.
No.
Wow.
What can you tell me?
He said you'll be strolling on your way back from work, on your way to work. Police just park and arrest you just like that. You reach home from work, you on TV, there's no light, just like that. You open tap to fetch water, no water, just like that. So, in my country, things happen just like that.
Wow. Aisha, do you want to give it a shot?
I think it's I'll just talk about what is trending on social media. If something happened to you, then people would be like, Nigeria never happened to you. So I feel like the Nigeria we're experiencing now never happened to us again. It comes to an end, because God.
Yes, we want to, the next time we say may Nigeria happen to you, to be a prayer, like it to be like a good thing, a positive thing. That's what we actually want, a democracy that works. And this song, NEPA, I don't take like NEPA, I don't generator one tear my ear. There's this, I can't remember the guy that's Techno that sang that. That was some years ago.
Yeah.
I want a situation where we'll be like, there is nothing like generator one tear my ear. There is power. And all of this can actually be achieved if young people, especially young Nigerians, young Africans, if we start taking ownership of the system, if we start engaging differently, leveraging our arts, our different forms of expression to make the right kind of demands. And most importantly, once it's time for elections, we turn out in our numbers and vote. Because at the end of the day, if we're not participating in that process that brings in leadership, then we're also losing or ceding power to those who want to control us. Wow, Andrea.
This has been a very impactful and, well-packed episode. Thank you so much for joining us, for listening. Thank you for watching. And of course, please make sure you like, subscribe, drop a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. And of course, share.
Yes. And to our guests, thank you so much, Aisha. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad you were able to join us. Thank you, Sheung. It's good to host you. This is your first time on the podcast. We will drag you back next time. And Aisha, I hope I hope to host you in person because I want you to perform for our audience. And then Tenny.
Love that.
Yes, would love that. And Teniola, thank you so much. Well done for the work you're doing. I would be reaching out to more. I think we need to host a lot of your teammates also because you guys did an amazing work with the thumbprints of democracy. And to our audience, one question, drop that in our comment section. If your country's democracy, depending on where you're listening from, if you're democracy in Nigeria, if you're from Kenya, wherever you're listening from, if your democracy was to be a soundtrack, what would it sound like? Put that in our comment section. Drop your country first and then add your response. We want to see what kind of album our democracies would make on the continent. Usually we end with a beautiful chant. So everyone hold your... Aisha, you join us virtually. Everyone hold. When you're on,
You're amplified. Cheers to Africa.
Yes.